Hello, I'm Toycat and welcome back to our third channel walk and talk video. Today I'm in the Red Rock Canyon in Las Vegas, Nevada, which is where I'm currently situated, but I want to talk about something else because have you ever been in the situation of trying to get someone a gift? I had to check my microphone was uncovered. Have you ever been in the situation of trying to get someone a gift and you find a pretty decent gift and you're like, yeah, they'd really like this, but then you think to yourself, I could get them an even better gift. And while trying to get the better gift, you just never do find it, and so you never give them a gift whatsoever, and actually they're in a worse situation. Have you ever tried to make a really great idea out of nothing? Maybe you have a great business idea or like a great art idea, and you just never really get that out. While trying to make it perfect, you never make something that's actually visible and public, and so it just goes by the way of all of your other projects, because this is something that happens all the time to all sorts of people. And the basic way you could summarize it is saying, well, it's letting perfect be the enemy of good. Sometimes we don't need perfection in life. Sometimes we just need things that are good enough. However, I think although that is a good summary and it's a valid way to put it, I think the easiest way to explain so many of the problems in life are when you overthink things, you're going to cause yourself a problem. And overthinking is a weird one to define because as a species, we are designed to want to think, right? Like the thing that makes us not lizards or whatever's in this canyon at night. I think there's some donkeys in there. Well, the thing that makes us not donkeys or lizards or indeed any other, or fish. Have you ever seen how dumb fish are? They're not even really animals. They're just carrots that float in the sea. But if you look at any animal and you see us, the thing that makes us unique is there's a lot going on inside our head. You can see with any animal the way like, oh yeah, their primary motives are food and then maybe water sometimes, but mostly it's like, yeah, food and reproduce, and it's as simple as that. But humans, although we love food and we love reproduction, I'm gonna have a good dinner after this, and I hope at some point, I'm gonna have a good dinner after this is where I'll finish that sentence. And we do love doing those things like animals do, but we also love to be introspective. We make medias, we make great books, we make great movies, we make terrible YouTube videos in terrible lighting conditions on the side of a hill, but we make these things, right? We make things for other humans to enjoy. Even the very concept of art is kind of nuts when you think about it. Even if you don't understand art, you're not a artsy person, the idea that we make things just to invoke thought in other human beings, the idea of a conversation that isn't specifically about things that can help you, like when you have a conversation about directions or you have a conversation about this, you're having these conversations to evoke emotions inside of yourself. It's nuts. However, despite the fact that overthinking is what makes so much of humanity great, it's also one of the things that I think if you're really, really good at doing, you need to do less. I want to give some examples from my personal life because I've mentioned this example before. The idea of going into any new store for the first time is a little anxiety inducing. If you want to buy a pet, right, you go to a pet store and they sell you like a rehomed dog or something, and so you just go in there and you ask, I feel like if you go in there and you ask, hey, I want to buy a dog, can you show me the dogs? That's a little embarrassing, I've never been to a pet shop, I don't know how it's like to buy a dog, but I bet it's like, a part of me will think about like, okay, how can I seem like I know what I'm doing here? Or I, for the first time, mailed some food internationally, is what I'll say. I mailed some food that didn't exist in a country to that country, and while I was at the idea of doing that was scary to me. Like I've never really mailed things in my life. Apparently it's very easy, by the way. But I've never really mailed things in my life, let alone mailed things to another country, let alone mailed things that clearly must, it's not that it's illegal in that country, but I'm clearly doing some form of exporting, importing, and it's actually really easy. It's streamlined for the most part so that people can be stupid, and ultimately I think that the only most things in life, I've learned this from flying, which is the thing I do the most that is so daunting to people who have never done it before. But flying is something I do a lot, and there's so many things to learn about flying. It's like, okay, you've got to show up there X number of hours before because there's a security process. Security is where you get all your stuff done. Then there's in some countries there's like a passport control process. Then there's like a wait around and wait till your flight's announced, and then wait till you're announced to go up there. Then you got to give your boarding pass to this person as well as your passport. You don't always give your passport on certain domestic flights in certain countries, but in other countries, even on domestic flights, you've got to give your passport over. So be ready for that, and also be ready for them to act like you're an idiot if you don't know that you should or shouldn't have a passport. So you got to know the situations. Like, okay, if it's a budget airline, then you usually got to use your identification because they want to make sure you haven't sold your ticket on. If it's a premium airline, they usually don't care as much because their tickets are expensive and they assume you're not doing that. And it's like a premium service to not have to whip out your passport or your driving license at the airport. And then it's like, my point is, there's so many complexities. Then you got to get on the plane, right? And, oh yeah, you got to, personal items can go on the seat underneath you, but it's so much more comfortable if you put them above. But if you wait too long to get on the plane, which is the best thing to do, then you don't get above. And then when you land, do you sit down or do you stand up? There's all these dumb things about plane travel that you can learn. But one thing I've learned from waking up at 5 a.m, because let's be honest, so many flights are that early, is that you can just go in there not thinking about anything, and it all just about works itself out. I have learned by virtue of traveling how much of the world can be worked out by just letting everything, happen. As long as you have a basic survival instinct, as long as you have a basic instinct not to be somewhere you shouldn't be. We've got some very big fail states in life. The biggest one is when you die. We have a lot of big fail states in life. Avoid one of those fail states, and the rest isn't that bad. I think, oh man, it's dark. This is a terrible video. It was better lit when I started walking up this hill, I promise. Wait, you can see Las Vegas back there? Okay, you can see a big yellow blob that I promise you is Las Vegas. You're gonna probably just have to take my word for that, I think. But, yeah, it's pretty cool in my opinion, that there are really only a few ways you can fail, and most people have a brain, I would imagine, that makes you overthink things. And so again, like that interaction with the stuff, it was just, all I had to know is I want Skittles, I want to send them overseas, I just go to the, I just gotta go to the post office. And then they'll tell me the rest. Even if I go there without an envelope or without a shipping bag, they'll deal with it for you, they'll probably be annoyed if you're going in there repeatedly doing the same stuff, like, they want you to work it out eventually. But I don't know, a lot of people are scared of highway driving, as an example, and it's like, yeah, the first time you do it, it's quite scary, you're going real fast, but then you realize it's just like, yeah, you go on this big road where effectively no one's moving because you're all going the same speed, and then after some amount of time you come off, you change speed and scary and collisions into time, and again, as long as you're watching out for the fail state of your life, you'll be fine. In a basic conversation, right, you can be real scared. It is cold, by the way. It is weird to be in Vegas and for it to be cold, but my hands are actively freezing. You can overthink so many different encounters in your life. I've done this in so many social situations, when in reality, all you gotta do is just like easy breezy your way in there. Here's a personal example for you, if you don't mind me sharing a bit too much here. I broke up with a girlfriend recently. I say a girlfriend, a big pile of them. I broke up with one of the many girlfriends in the pile yesterday, and they love being referred to as the pile. Did I say I broke up with her yesterday? I broke up with her yesterday, and the first thing I did is decide I'd make a YouTube video. But no, we broke up, and it wasn't, I thought it was amicable, but it didn't seem like it was for a bit. And I think in so many situations like this, where you're assuming the other person hates you, that person is also just assuming you hate them. Sometimes people hate you for dumb reasons, or for stupid, but most people, if you're kind to them, will eventually start being kind back, or at least, there's a type of passive-aggressive kind. If you're, genuinely nice to people, oh, my car is making concerning lights right now. If you're just genuinely nice to people, most people will like you back. And in the same way, I don't know, maybe I assume my ex-girlfriend assumed I hated her. I mean, that's the funny thing about breakups, right? Is you don't break up with someone because you're like, yeah, we've gone from being a 10 out of 10 to being a 7 out of 10. And, we did a lot of performance reviews and we weren't able to work our way back up to the 10s. And that's okay, but I've decided to end this here rather than pursue this further. Something biological clock. I don't think I get to say that as a guy, but I'm going to say it anyway. Got a biological clock, Everyone does have a biological clock. But anyway, it was so she seemed like she assumed I hated her, and so assumed she hated me, or I don't know, she had the vibe like she hated me, wasn't talking to me outside of the bare necessities. But it's gotten better. It was rather than just getting in my head about how much she hates me and talking to everyone I know, be like, yeah, she's awful, she's this, she's that, she's done. And you just gotta be like, yeah, okay, let's we aren't this, but hopefully we can be this in the future, we're 5 out of 10 now, we can maintain that 5 outside. I think being in your head too much, that's a really complex one. I still don't even know like, I haven't had enough breakups to know for sure how you're meant to navigate or handle or deal with the post of one. In my first relationship, it broke up, and the girl said specifically, "I don't want to ever see you again. It'll make you sad about what we don't have now," or something. And I was like, okay then. And so my second girlfriend, long term I guess I'm saying, like, ghosted me, and so she wasn't willing to talk to me to break up with me. She definitely wasn't willing to talk to me post-breakup. But after that, I was like, yeah, I actually did want to keep in touch, and then just didn't. I don't know about the world of, like, post-breakup things. It's a whole world you can think too much about. Or you can just say, there are people in your life, you know, like, I don't know, like, thinking about labels too much can get really complicated. Like, who's a best friend? Who's a friend? Who's a this? Who's a that? You can think about all those things too much. Or you can just say, like, actually, instead of being any of those things, you can think about everything all the time. Or you can just say, there are people. I'll hang out with the people I like. I'll do the things that I want to do. And as long as you're setting yourself goals to move forwards, as long as you're not just, like, you know, there's a difference between carelessness, recklessness, and trying to be looser, trying to be less in your head. Again, if you're actively leading yourself into failure states, you can define those yourself. It's not just murder. Oh, there's a car here. That's spooky. I've got light at least. That's nice. Rather than guiding yourself into failure states, this is really good lighting. I love this a lot. Rather than guiding yourself non-stop into failure states, which you can define, can be death, can be anything else like that. Instead of doing those things, why don't you instead... I didn't realize I was so close to the bottom. Rather than doing those things, don't do those things. That's when you're doing awfully. That's when, you know, like, if you just do nothing in life, you'll get in some pretty bad situations. But just freeing yourself up, treat more things like a curiosity situation, like a how will this go, and jumping into it that way, you'll have a better time in life. Also, it's like full on dark. It's like nighttime. I've got to get home. I don't like night driving yet. You know, this is one of those things about driving. Like, I used to be so spooked out about night driving, but it's just day driving, but you can't see things. Like, it's fine. I'm gonna drive down this road to get out of here, and it's gonna be fine. Can you see my finger? There it is. Speaking of fingers, I am going to give you the finger and tell you, stop watching this video. You're a dumb slut. Get out of here. Bye. I'm just kidding. I like you, really. We have that sort of relationship where I can call you a dumb slut and you don't assume I mean it, you know? Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time, unless I don't. Bye.